Welcome back to Rubbin'minds. Before we went on the break, we were discussing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's policies and how it's affecting the growth of the country. Right now, we want to delve into an industry that despite every single thing, despite every single challenge that they've experienced, they've managed somehow, the people in the industry has managed to thrive, and that is the entertainment industry. We're going to be discussing Afrobeats in particular, the music industry. We've seen our artists winning the highest awards at the highest levels, from Grammys, even down to obviously the Headies, in our local, in our country. And you just really want to talk about the evolution of the Nigerian music. And with me, I have a culture consultant who is an expert and an authority in the music business, Jide Taiwo. Welcome to the program.
Oh, hi. Thanks for having me.
All right. So
good to be here.
Yes. Let's talk about Afrobeats. I'm just going to jump heads in. Yeah.
Yes.
You've seen so much growth in such a short time, and it's almost unbelievable. In fact, Afrobeats is considered African music, and of course it originated from this country. Even other people from other countries that are not obviously Nigeria are flying the Afrobeats flag, and the whole world recognizes Afrobeats. How did we get here?
I mean, it's the combination of many years and many people and, many careers, This current space, and I like to think of it as contemporary popular music, right? When D'banj or Two-Face were making music, they still make music, but, when they were at their peak, their music wasn't necessarily called Afrobeats, right? So this Afrobeats era that we're in now is a result of many years of people, as far back as the mid-90s, folks like Kenny Ogungbe, who used their TV platform to give voice to an emerging generation of Nigerian, youngsters who wanted to make music. So now that you have this global acclaim that Afrobeats is enjoying now, it's important to also remember that it's a result, it's an evolution. This is the latest evolution of that thing we've been doing for many years. But it's heartwarming, and like you mentioned in your remarks, despite whatever is going on in Nigeria, the entertainment, the music, the film, entertainment in general, the culture scene in general, appears to always be that thing that Nigerians can lean on, whether for good or for bad. If you're upset, you listen to music. If you're happy, you listen to music. And it's heartwarming to see all of this progress being made.
All right. So what would you say has contributed to the popularity of the genre
now?
Globally?
The time was right. And the combination of many things. So where we had maybe 10 people who could make music in the mid-90s, by the mid-2000s, we probably had 50. Now, in the 2020s, we have countless. And the barrier of entry is kind of lowered. You don't need to pay for an 8-hour studio session, which was a thing some 20, 25 years ago. For you to record a proper song or track, you needed to lock yourself up in the studio and get it done. Now you can do it under your staircase, right? The explosion of social media has also helped. But most importantly is the relentless Nigerian spirit. There's something about us that just gives us that drive. Now that we've channeled it in the music, when we had the same attention in our sports, we could see what we did in sports. And when we kind of looked away from it, we've seen the results. So for the music itself, all of these things and the just unbreakable Nigerian spirits that is inspired by many things across the world, but is insistent on getting it done and getting it right properly. So that's kind of like the thing that is driving the movement nowadays.
All right. Also, I was in India last year, and I noticed that because I was hosting Zee Awards, it's a big award show in India, and then somebody just walked up to me and started singing, "Baby, calm down." So it was the biggest song in India as at 2023.
Right.
Because how did that happen? This is a country that they don't even speak English as a major language. There's Hindi that is a major language there. So how is it that we've been able to cross the borders that way?
By just grinding and doing our things. It's funny that you mentioned India. My mother remembers Love in Tokyo from the 60s and 70s. We are not Indians, but somehow that crept into our space. It's kind of like how the music itself has gone towards all parts of the world. But it's important that it's not just an accident, right? The music is enjoyable, right? Nigerians are charismatic, and it's almost a given that if you listen to a Nigerian song, either by paying attention to the melody, or we just beat you over the head with it until you get it. It's that irresistible feature that Nigerians generally have. So when you go to places like India, and we've yet to crack those parts of the world, we have yet to cross into Korea. It's unimaginable what awaits us when we're able to make all of this, inroads into places apart from the US and Europe.
All right. Now there's an ongoing conversation that as much as we're happy with the growth of Afrobeats, that we're losing our structure in terms of we're losing the power to own our catalog, as most of our big artists are being bought over by the Universal Musics. And so practically we enjoy the benefits of being global, but some heavyweights in the Western world are claiming ownerships to our catalog and our music, which will be a problem in the future. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it just means that we have to put our money where our mouth is, or put our monies where our dancing shoes are, right? I mean, if I'm a Universal and I've invested X million of dollars in artists A, B, C, D, right? Of course, I want to own that. What that just means is that the music industry itself, now in Nigeria, Nigerians have to build something that is worth staying at home for, right? I mean, if all of these majors own all of this publishing, and I was in a conversation a couple of days ago, the biggest artists in Nigeria, that catalogs are owned by foreign entities, right? But that means that there's an opportunity for local investors. Yes, we've tried. It's kind of like how it says in the Bible, hitherto we have gotten this far, right? We've built it up until this point. To scale, we need to make commensurate investment, as the Universals, the Empires, the Def Jams, all of these people are doing. Otherwise, we'll see what happened in the 90s. At some point, all of these majors, Sony, Philips, all of them just upped and left, right? And then that gave birth to the Kennys, the Dove Records, all of them. That's what we need to build in the second phase of Afrobeat. So it's crucial that people in business, it's crucial that people in government that can make policies look at entertainment as important as the oil sector, for instance, because it's creative. It's a creative industry, and we've seen how much it can generate. The Taylor Swift concert tour in the UK was said to have added about 200-300 million to the London economy. Those are things that are mind-blowing if you see it happening abroad, but those are things that can happen here. When we say we are doing Afrobeat to the world and we are selling out the O2s, yeah, but of what benefit is it to me if I'm just an up-and-comer in Ketu, for instance?
Yeah.
If I'm a hotelier in Surulere, if somebody sells out the O2, how does that add value to me? So those are things that we need to build to ensure that while this Afrobeat is to the world, the gaze should be looking internally, not just external. Because at the end of the day, the world is a fickle place. If we don't deliberately own this now, the momentum will shift, the world moves on to something else. It's happened with reggae. It's happened with reggaeton. K-pop is in this place now. So it's important that now that we have the attention of the world, we use Afrobeats as a tool to build something more lasting for all of us.
Speaking about Afrobeats shifting and the attention shifting, Tyler was at the VMA and she actually won the category for Afrobeats.
Right.
And then she made a statement that, yes, there are different genres, there are different kinds of music in Africa, that she represents Amapiano. Right. What do you think of that?
I mean, I can't hold anything against Tyler. It's not her fault that she made a sound and it was world over like that. And I respect our bravery to be able to say, yeah, I acknowledge this, but this is what I am. This is what I think us as Nigerians also need to do for ourselves. Personally, I've long been a believer in the fact that the Afrobeat itself is sort of like a misnomer. It's insufficient to describe everything that is Nigerian music. Like we said, if D'banj was making Tongolo in 2004 and it wasn't called Afrobeats then, does that make it less of an Afrobeat song? Does that make it popular music? Does that make it contemporary music? So you have all of these things that we as ourselves need to figure out what we want to do. Do we need to codify what an Afrobeat song needs to sound like? If you listen to heavy metal, right, or rock or country music, there are elements that are consistent in the development of these sounds. Do we need to invent or codify something that make it qualify as Afrobeat so that if Drake makes an Afrobeat song, it doesn't make Drake less of a rapper, right? So if Fireboy makes an R&B song. Is it R&B? Is it Afrobeat? Those are elements that we also by ourselves need to figure out and fashion up ourselves.
All right. Let me just have your final thoughts on what the future of Afrobeat is.
It's never been brighter. If you look at the way the world is positioned now, old enough to remember when folks used to buy internet hours. You know, you pay 300 naira or 400 naira to browse for 1 hour. Now, my kids know how to run their iPads by themselves. With the benefit of technology, there's no limits to what our music industry, our entertainment industry, our culture industry can do. So yes, with the benefit of all of these things and the right resources, I mean, we're reaching $1 billion.
All right. Thank you very much, DJ Taiwo, and I hope that we'll be able to have as much percentage as possible from $1 billion.
It's important. It's important.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.